Señoritas y señores, bienvenidos a otro video para Español 1. Or it could be Español 2. The reality is I don't have my stuff in front of me. I don't know what video this is for. And I really can't remember what the heck you guys are learning at the moment. But I know this. Es muy importante ver los videos para la clase de Español. Still very important to watch these homework videos, everybody, because as you know, if you do not watch these homework videos, then you do not know the skills you need to practice in la clase de Español. And when you don't know the skills you need to practice, then you bomb tests and quizzes. And then, of course, you make plans to come back to beautiful Chino Hills High School in Chino Hills, California, USA over el verano, over the summer. That doesn't sound fun, does it? But again, hey, you know? And Señora Barbosa right over there, looking at me like a weirdo, like I'm a weirdo. No, she's not the weirdo, I'm a weirdo. But I think you guys knew that already. I'm not sure if this one's gonna make the final cut. But I guess we'll fix it in post. Okay, so let's get to the video. Here we go. Welcome back, Español 1 Estudiantes, Spanish 1 students. And I'm trying to get this video up on YouTube as soon as possible. So enough with my shenanigans. Let's get right to the nitty-gritty, as Nacho Libre says.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. And here we go. In your libro. We're talking about the verb estar in your libro. You can take a look at all of the breakdown on page 107, página 107. Now, the verb estar is an AR ending infinitive. However, it behaves differently. All right? It says in the book, the AR verbs you have used until now are called regular verbs. All right? Because it's a pretty straightforward process. I mean, they have a formula. You stick to it. Case closed, right? Well, there are verbs in Spanish that they do not follow a regular pattern, and those are called irregular verbs, and that's exactly what the verb estar is. It's because the yo form doesn't follow a regular pattern, and because the forms estás, está, and están require accent marks. Now, so far, out of all the AR verbs that we've conjugated in class, we've never had to do any of that to any other AR ending infinitive, all right? So, the verb estar behaves differently. It's called, or it's classified as an irregular verb. Use estar to tell how someone feels or where someone or something is located. Okay, so you could see the different flavors of the verb estar. Once again, I'm looking on page 107, página 107 in your book. We don't use the vosotros form. We're going to leave that out. Lucky you, I have a PowerPoint here that just kind of, encompasses everything that I've been telling you about. Okay, so here's the verb estar in action to conjugate or to change estar in the present tense. Again, if I'm talking about me, myself, I, yo estoy. Yo estoy. If I'm talking to you in an informal way, tú estás. Tú estás. And then, of course, usted, you formally, or él, he, or ella, she, está. All right? Usted, or él, or ella, está. Nosotros, sometimes nosotras, estamos. And then finally, ustedes, you guys, ellos, them, or they, ellas, they, but being only females, están. Ustedes, or ellos, or ellas, están. All right, so estoy, estás, está, estamos, or están. Again, the verb estar is used to tell how someone feels or where someone or something is located. Let's take a look at some examples. ¿Cómo estás? That's the informal way of saying, how are you? Okay? Yeah. Estoy en la escuela. Location, location, location. I am at school. Yo estoy en la escuela. La puerta está al lado de la ventana. Once again, where something is located. La puerta está al lado de la ventana. The door is beside the window. Okay? So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, to recap, estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. You use the verb estar, which means to be, to tell how someone feels or where someone or something is located. And that is a quick look at the verb estar. And then the last grammar lesson for this chapter, chapter 2b, is going to be called the plurals of nouns and articles. That información is found on página 110, page 110 in your textbook. All right. So now let's try to make plurals make sense. In other words, up to this point in la clase de Español, level 1, you've been learning all the rules about masculine, feminine, but only for singular nouns. But now it's time for us to ramp it up and let's get plural things and plural people involved in the action. Hey, here's a little reminder. Remember that you use definite articles such as el or la in the past. El or la means the, okay? Let's recap. And then you also used indefinite articles. Now, remember to say a or an in Spanish, you say un or una. So, el or la, that means the, el for masculine nouns, la for feminine nouns. And then un and una, those are indefinite articles. Un for masculine nouns, una for feminine nouns, okay? All right. So yeah, you're more than welcome to look at the information on page 110. I've got another PowerPoint that kind of puts it all together right over here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to make Spanish nouns plural, you have to change the noun, but you also have to change the definite and indefinite articles. All right. So if you want to have more than one book, you're going to have to change the word book in Spanish, libros. But then you also have to change the L that was in front of it, and you have to make that plural. All right. So here's what you got to do. To make definite articles plural, el or la, we learned that already, but to make el plural, that changes to los. To make la plural, it changes to las. Okay? You've probably seen these before all around town. We live in Southern California. Like Los Angeles. Las Cascadas, that good restaurant out there in Chino Hills. Okay? So once again, los and las means the, but for plural nouns. All right? Indefinite articles, un or una, that should look familiar to you, okay? And if you want to say some in Spanish, now you have unos, describing masculine nouns, and unas, describing feminine nouns, plural, of course, okay? So once again, un, to be plural, is unos, or it changes to unos when it's plural, and una changes to unas when that becomes plural too. All right. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual noun, the person, place, or thing. And so what happens if you want to make a noun plural? It's pretty simple. All you have to do is add an S at the end of the noun most of the time. Like, for example, the word silla, chair, add an S. Sillas. And there you go. Sillas becomes plural. All right. Cuaderno, if you have only one cuaderno, make it plural. Cuadernos. Okay. Not bad, huh? And most of the time that's going to happen because a lot of times Spanish nouns, they end in vowels. But what if the noun ends in a consonant? All right. If the noun ends in a consonant, you can't just put the S and say I'm done. Nope, you got to add an ES. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. Cartel. The word cartel ends in a consonant, the letter L. So don't just add an S, add an ES. So now you got carteles. All right. Profesor also ends in a consonant. Add an ES to the word profesor. Now you got profesores. All right. And then there's another rule in Spanish. Sometimes you might have a noun that ends in the letter Z. All right. It's happened before. We've seen a few of them. Lápiz. Lápiz. That ends in the letter Z. Nariz, way back in August or September at the beginning of the school year. Nariz, that's nose. All right. And when that happens, if you have a noun that ends in the letter Z, there's a rule in Spanish. You're gonna have to change that letter Z to a letter C, and then add an ES to make it plural. Okay, you got to take that extra step. Now, the reason why you got to do that is because to preserve pronunciation of the original word. See, if somebody is reading your Spanish or any type of Spanish on paper, or if you're writing it out, if you don't do this spelling change, you mispronounce it. And so that's why you have to do some spelling changes sometimes in Spanish so that you can preserve the pronunciation. So check it out. Lápiz. So before you add an ES to it, make sure you change the Z to a C and then add the ES. Nariz. Again, same approach. Before you add the ES, make sure you change that Z to a C and then add an ES. And that's what you got to do if your noun ends in a letter Z. Okay. Sometimes you have to use numbers plural wise. All right. And so if you want to say numbers to describe plural nouns, you're going to have to get rid of the el or the la or the los or the las completely. Okay, that's why you don't say dos los libros. Drop the los and just say dos libros. Okay. Cinco plumas, 5 pens. You don't say cinco las plumas. Get rid of the las completely, and you just have cinco plumas, 5 pens right there. All right. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this little table, and let me explain what you're looking at over here. Again, this is a recap. In order for you to make things plural in Spanish, not only do you have to change the actual noun, but you also have to change the article too. Okay, so let's take the word reloj. That means clock. If you have only one, it's el reloj. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. But if you want to make clocks plural in Spanish, not only do you have to add an ES to the word reloj to make it relojes, but that el has to change to a los. Again, what you got to do in Spanish is you got to match it up. Matchy matchy is what you got to do in Espanol, okay? El reloj, los relojes. Same approach for un pupitre, okay? Everything has to be plural now, including the article. Un pupitre if it's singular. Unos pupitres if it's plural, okay? Now, if you have feminine nouns involved, la ventana, las ventanas. Again, not only do you add an S to ventana to make it ventanas, but now the la changes to a las. And then, of course, the same approach for una mesa. It becomes unas mesas. Matchy matchy is the rule in Spanish, okay? Now, it can be a very difficult, difícil concept to grasp because in your defense, if you're like me, if you learned English first and Spanish second, we don't deal with this, singular, plural, masculine, and feminine rule mumbo jumbo in English. We don't, all right? If we want to say the in English, we just say the. We don't say el or la or los or las. And so there you go. So that's why it can be a little difícil sometimes learning Spanish, because you have to be aware of the number and gender of things that you're talking about, okay? So there you go, señoritas y señores. So that is a look at plurals. So not only do you have to make the noun plural, you have to make the article plural too. And so I hope you guys, I hope this makes sense. And if it didn't make sense, then of course, hit the pause button right now and then go back to the beginning of this segment and make sure that you watch it again. And if you still don't get it, then maybe you can talk to Señor Barbosa and catch me in la clase de Español. And, we'll sit down and try to figure out together. You and I. Tú y yo. All right? But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. It is late. I got to go home. It's getting dark outside. And I hope I come home to a delicious, hot, tasty meal. Tengo hambre. And of course, I get to see my beautiful babies and my beautiful wife. So, ladies and gentlemen, muchas gracias once again for leaving a comment below in the comment section for the points. And as always, come back to this video. Don't watch it just once. If you want to practice Espanol to get good at it and to get a good grade in la clase de Español, repetition is the key, okay? That's it for now, señoritas y señores. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Muchas gracias. Adiós.